All right, so this is our assistant principal, Mr. David Seymour, and we're going to do the interview for his principal's message for this assignment. All right, so I'm going to start with question one. Mr. Seymour, how would you describe your school counseling team here at Burbank and like in terms of the whole cost team and everyone who's included?
Okay. Well, starting off with our costume, we have a very full team here. I'd say 15 people or so. Um, counselors, counselor interns, principal, assistant principal, community school specialist, parent engagement director, or family engagement specialist, sorry, YEP lead, school nurse. I'm sure I'm missing one. It's a very comprehensive group that we have that meets, I would say, probably about every 3 weeks to review cost referrals.
Mhm.
Some are for socio-emotional support and counseling, some are for academic needs, and some are various other reasons as well. But yeah, we have a pretty extensive team here, and I'm happy with the way things have been going with that.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, very cool. So what role does your school counseling team play in promoting school climate and safety?
So we're very fortunate to have Mr. Gonzalez as our socio-emotional counselor, and every year we are fortunate, very fortunate to have at least an intern or two that work with him. And we also have an EBAC counselor. She only is a counselor for students with Medi-Cal. So Carlos kind of sees all the other students. They both have pretty full caseloads, as I'm sure you know, and um, we're very fortunate in the fact that they bring a service to the school that they bring expertise that I, as an administrator, have not been taught on and don't know. I mean, I can sit and talk with kids for a few minutes here and there, and I do my best, but I don't have the background knowledge and the education and the schooling that counselors do or the counseling interns do. Very grateful to have the counseling interns as well for that support. In an ideal world, I would be able to sit down with students 15, 20 minutes at a time like you all do.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, I'm not to say I'm too busy for it, but I can never calendar that time because something always pops up. And so just to have counseling resources here that are dependable here almost every day, and seeing many, many students is awesome. And we're so grateful for it. And it's so needed. I mean, it's so needed for these kids, especially coming out of the pandemic.
Mhm.
It's only my second year at the elementary level. I was high school before that, but you can see the impact that the pandemic had on a lot of kids in regards to social emotional needs that we're now dealing with, and was I don't want to say it was an unexpected outcome of the school closures, but something that I think we all kind of knew was probably going to happen, and it's coming to fruition.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see that. Thank you.
Mhm.
What role does your school counseling team play in academic, college, career, and socio-emotional development?
So not so much college career here at this level,
Mhm.
obviously. Although maybe those are things that are said in counseling meetings that I'm not aware of. Just talking about what your future goals are, college, that kind of stuff. Maybe that's talked about, but the focus here more is definitely on socio-emotional needs, students with troubled home lives, students who are often, especially the younger kids that are always being physical with other students
Absolutely.
to the point where it's gotten too much. A simple conversation with me or the principal or a couple conversations aren't enough, and so we go the counseling route, helping the kids learn to make better decisions. Our stuff, our motto here, our goals here are to be safe, be respectful, be responsible. So I know that the counselors certainly work with that, with those students on those goals, and really just it's really my favorite, I don't say my favorite part, but one of the best parts about having counselors here on campus is when a kid comes in that wasn't scheduled to be seen that day, but is having a breakdown or something
Mhm.
happened the night before at home or something happened in class. And it's like, can you, Mr. Gonzalez or Maddie, can you please check in with them real quick? And they're able to do that and give them that support that they need in that moment and not something that's planned for their once a week visit or whatever, however often that they see their students. And to have that is crucial and huge. And another huge thing is when unfortunately situations come up where we need to do a risk assessment. Um, I can do the risk assessment, but I feel much more confident when I give it to a counselor to really dig a little deeper and because I know the form to fill out. I'm not I'm just not as gifted as our counselors are in that regards. And so it's nice too when we have kind of a crisis where, oh my God, do we need to do a risk assessment? I can lean on Mr. Gonzalez if he's available, or other counselors or if we need to go that route as well. So that's always been a huge weight off my shoulders to be able to kind of have him complete those assessments.
That is lovely and very sweet of you to say, but I can also speak highly to your skills as well in terms of being able to speak with students. So
well, I am not as I am, I'm still trying to find that balance between being soft and being firm. And sometimes I catch myself being a little too firm sometimes and realizing they're just little kids. And so I'm trying to get better at that. I'm trying to grow in that area as well.
absolutely.
So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What role does your school counseling team play in meeting the needs of the community? So both inside and outside the school.
So I think, you know, I, I can't speak too much on what happens outside of the school. I do know that even when Mr. Gonzalez and you and other interns are maybe not seeing students, they'll go out during recess and be with the kids. I think any help to our students is a help to the greater community, obviously. It helps families at home. It helps their parents. It helps extended families when those kids are getting the support that they desperately need. As far as what the counselors do to reach out to like outside organizations and stuff like that, I can't really speak too knowledgeably about that. But I do know also that our counselors go to other schools if they're in a crisis. If a student passes away, unfortunately, and the students need extra counseling at that school, he'll go there, and those are things that are super obviously beneficial to that school community, which is great too, because we're all one community. We're all in Hayward. We're all one big giant family, even if we're at different schools. And so I hope that answers that a little bit. I don't have too much more to add to that, but
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And just kind of wrapping up, what kind of support services does the school counseling team, are they able to connect students with?
So, again, that would be more of a question for the counselors. I do know that when Mr. Gonzalez has talked to students and found out what really is going on, he'll connect with our community school specialist, Ms. Malgosa, or our family engagement specialist, so they can reach out to provide possible resources, community resources to students. Those are things that often come up in COS meetings as well. And so I know that there's also a very important and close relationship, not just with Mr. Gonzalez, our counselor, and administration, but with our community outreach folks that work here as well. And we're lucky to have two of them here at this school as well. And so I know that's happened quite often in the past where the counselor would get some information out of a kid that maybe we didn't know about, and what possible supports could be necessary for their families. And he's connected very closely with Ms. Malgosa, and they've worked out, with families and try to get the resources they need.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's such a lovely supportive staff here.
Yeah.
And so it's been a wonderful experience to be here. And so I really appreciate this interview, and I want to just wrap up with asking you, what is your favorite part of being here at Burbank? Because you mentioned 2 years at the elementary level.
This is my second year. So I had 17 years of experience at the high school level, and so to come to an elementary school was very eye-opening for me, and just I'm still learning. I have so much to learn still, because when you at a certain grade level or age for 17 years, that's so ingrained. And there's so many similarities in the administrative job as far as paperwork and stuff. There are a lot of similarities, but as far as dealing with students and families, it's a totally different ball game here. And so I do appreciate. I think my favorite part, if I'm going to be selfish, is that now my son goes here this year, and so I only have one son, and he's in TK now. So to be able to be here at the same school he's at, see him every morning, see him at lunch, take him home every day with me after work, is something that I often take for granted. But every once in a while when I'm driving home, I kind of pinch myself. It's like, okay, yeah, this is really cool. This is really cool. So that's my favorite part, selfishly, right now. But I think we do have a really good staff, a caring community that is great at educating, but also being supportive and nurturing to our kids. And I'm very glad that when given the opportunity to come to this elementary school, this was the one that I got to come to, and not other schools. Not that anything bad against other schools, but I feel that this was a very nice fit for me, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and I think from my experience, I could tell that you're a very integral part of the system here, and so it's a huge pleasure to be able to interview you today. And yeah, thank you so much.
Of course, my pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work you do.
Thank
You do an
so
amazing
much.
job with our students. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Mr. Seymour. Thank you. All right.